I'm going to talk about unity and partnership. In my intervention, the pathway to our collective victory and prosperity. The birth of Ayatse Foundation. Well, a little bit of history. I became Tor Tiv purely by the act of God. It's a divine thing. I never set out or ever dreamt in my life to be Tor Tiv. It just came like that by God's design. And when God chose me, God works through people. He got into people, and I was voted as Tor Tiv. There were 4 candidates, and I was voted. The politicians would call it landslide victory. I had 39 votes over 46 kingmakers. So I had 39 of the votes available. The other 3 shared the 7 that was left. It was by God's design. And God had a clear mandate to me to bring the Tiv nation back to God, the Creator. Because whatever God wants to do using the Tiv nation, He has to be the king. He has to be the one ruling over the Tiv nation. And so it's important first for the Tiv nation to come back to God. And I say that take that mandate as a very serious one. And Tiv nation globally is something that we must take seriously. And number 2, to bring them into unity and then lead them to the prosperity ordained for them. Now, it is difficult for you to be in unity if you don't embrace God. Because it's God that drives us into love, one for another, for ourselves, and then we're able to tolerate, we're able to forgive, we're able to stay together and work together in unity. And then there is nothing we'll be able to achieve if we are not united. And when we are united, join hands together, then that will lead us to the prosperity that God has already ordained for Tiv nation. Now, unity is strength. I want to give this an example from Scripture. Of course, I'm sure that you all remember that in my inauguration, I swore by the Bible. And therefore, that is my instrument of office. I believe strongly in the Word of God. I take that from Genesis chapter 11, verse 1 to 8. Now, it says, now the worlds, the whole earth had one language and one speech. I have decided to color some of the words because of the importance. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. Then they said to one another, come, let us make bricks, and bake them thoroughly. They had bricks for stone, and they had asphalt for mortar. And they said, come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower whose top is in the heavens. Let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be scattered abroad over the face of the earth. Now the first 4 verses shows the strength in unity. The people were united together and they said, let us. Verse 5, the second part of the write-up. But the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the sons of men had built. And the Lord said, indeed, these people are one, and they all have one language. And this is what they begin to do now. Nothing that they propose to do will be withheld from them. Now, the strange thing. Verse 7, come, let us go down, and that confuse their language. They They may not understand one another's speech. So the Lord scattered them. And they ceased building the city. Now, I reproduced that to show strength in unity. And we can see clearly unity is strength. What are the elements? Now, the people's unity, they had one language, they had one speech. That's oneness in thought, emphasis on common collective good. Unity in response to leadership. Let us, there was somebody that led and said, let us do this. And they all in agreement submitted to leadership. And that is why unity was possible. There was submission to leadership. No selfish or self-centered ambition. Unity around projects. You don't just have unity. What unites people, there is a project. And they agree to do it together, they are united together. These people wanted to build a city and a tower. That united them. People must be, for them to be united, they must be united by a project, by a process, by a program. Unity is never in vacuum. Friends may be united in drinking, they may be united in whatever vice. Something always unites people. Unity expressed in what they wanted to collectively achieve. Now, in that unity, you see there was absence of suspicion of being cheated. There was love, there was trust, and willingness to sacrifice and promote the common good. When there is need for a project to be executed, people must be united together. They must put aside suspicion. Oh, if I put in money, they will eat it. They will defraud me. This man will take everything and run away. I will be cheated out. No. There must be love, trust, and willingness to sacrifice. Now look at the side of the enemy. As you read from verse 5 of that scripture, you discover that the enemy, well, in this case, God became their enemy because they were not doing God's program. And God, God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, in unity, they said, let us. They were united together in scattering them. The enemies are united in creating divisions to ensure there is no unity, there is no love, there is no trust, and that is needed to achieve progress. Enemies want to ensure the people are not united around projects that will build them, but united on things that will destroy them. That's true. And then enemies are prepared to use resources and build networks to keep us in bondage and subjugation. We must understand this. If we are talking about Tiv unity, the unity of the Tiv nation, globally, we must understand we have enemies who are out there to ensure that we are not united. We must be united. Even in MUTA, we must be united. I want to appreciate the president of MUTA. He complimented the efforts that God used us to restore and start the rebuilding of the bonds that hold MUTA together. But again, I came like I came today, last in 2017, and I met an empty hall. It was as bad as that. And it's from there we started calling, and some people took flights to come to join us there, and we sat down there to rebuild again. Because the people responded to leadership. It must be. We must put away our differences, our division. Whether we are first generation or second generation or third generation, we must work as one. Whether we have PhDs or we are professors or we don't have any degree, we must work as one. Division along, we are the new generation. The old people have had enough. We should take over. That will never build us. We must act as one. We must not bring the cleavages back home. here in America. We must act as one. We must build together, and with our strength and focus, we may even redeem what is happening in the motherland. Building unity, the effort of the Tiv Area Traditional Council. Some modest efforts of the Tiv Area Traditional Council in partnership with the governor of Benue State towards building unity. The governor of Benue State has been very, very supportive in ensuring that we build together in unity, that we remain together in unity as a Tiv nation, as Benue State, to build together in unity. Part of the initial steps I took when I became Tor Tiv under my leadership, the Tiv Area Traditional Council, we toured around the intermediate areas to preach the return to God. That Tiv must return to God, embrace God as their king, as their leader, and then love one another and work together in unity. And we proceeded from there to reconcile prominent sons and daughters of the Tiv nation who were at loggerheads. I'm sure many of you are witnesses to what has happened. The modest efforts we have done has helped to unite the people together. And recently, the Tiv Area Traditional Council called all the elected National Assembly members of Tiv extraction, together with the governor. We sat down together and we talked about unity, about working together, about networking together, about showing love one to another, so that together we can build the Tiv nation. Now we have reconciliation of different factions of Christian groups. Together with the governor, we've done that. Some Christian groups were divided, were at each other's throats. It's supposed to be strange that Christians shouldn't do that, but we're human, and we're able to reconcile them. Now, the good thing that is innovative, and we've started, is that we've considered a joint traditional rulers and Christian leaders committee to promote unity and deal with challenges in a united approach. Part of what we think will help us in addressing some of our challenges. The church people are talking the same, the traditional people are talking the same. That will build unity. Now, I said earlier that unity is not built in vacuum. There must be something that will unite the people. We unite their efforts, they will unite their direction, and they will unite their strength. And therefore, the Tiv Area Traditional Council, under my leadership, decided to bring a project, the creation of Ayatse Foundation. Now, I believe that here we sang and talked about Ayatse no Kase. Now, the name actually came from there. Ayatse Kase, especially for the young people that don't understand. The Tiv people, once there is a very wonderful feat, they will say, Ayatse no. Who are the people? Because they believe that kind of thing cannot be attained by one person. Who are the people that did this? Kase, that is, we are the ones. You know that sometimes we even had a Kase group here, am I right? Yes. I'm not sure they understood what that meant. But today they have an idea. Now, Kase, if we are to achieve, then we must move together. That's the basis for Ayatse. Kase, if we are to attain a great feat as a people, as a nation, we must actually stick together. Now, that has been registered, and what you have on the far right is actually the registration certificate with Corporate Affairs Commission. Is a legal entity, it's registered. And to say something about the governance structure. The governance structure of Ayatse, to explain this to a native man, Tor Tiv. That is the purse, or you can say the money bag, the tea bag for which money will go in to solve the tea problems. We have the board of trustees made up of all the first-class chiefs in Benue State, with Tor Tiv as chairman. Then we have a 50-member strong board of advisors, yet to be inaugurated, but has been constituted. In that you have 4 people from each intermediate area. You have all the second-class chiefs in the Tiv Area Traditional Council as members of the board of advisors. Then we also have Tor Tiv leadership as part of the board, and then the diaspora, MUTA, the MUTA president will naturally be sitting on the board of advisors, and the MUTA leadership will also be on the advisors. Then you have the management that deals with the day-to-day affairs of the foundation. And it's a very serious board. The board of advisors will actually be the think tank who will decide on projects, decide on interventions, and so on, and that will be approved by the board of trustees. So it's an arrangement that it will be very difficult for anybody. It's not the kind of thing that somebody will gather money and run away. It's not possible. Even the Tor Tiv will not do it. Because by the arrangement, Tor Tiv is not signatory to the account. The signatories to the account are carefully chosen, one from Chongo, one first class from Chongo, one first class from Pusu. And these are the ones to sign. Tor Tiv himself doesn't sign. But the bank must seek consent from him that this transaction is authentic before they honor it. So Tor Tiv cannot sit and touch the money. So the aims and objectives are there. I won't bore you with going through, but I want to tell you that anything useful, anything progressive that you can think of is built into the aims and objectives of Ayatse. Things like scholarship that you are doing, health intervention you are doing, all those things are already built in. And all that is required is that people will make contribution. How Ayatse Foundation, Ayatse Kase Foundation will be founded. The foundation is to be financed from annual goodwill of individual and group donations of Tiv sons and daughters at home and abroad, including their well-wishers. The foundation shall also be eligible to seek for funding for its activities from international and national development partners, bilateral and multilateral organizations, and from any other legitimate source that may become available for its use from time to time. Now, if you look at the logo, you can see it's born out of unity. It's born out of joining hands to hands to be able to attain the objective. It's not something an individual will be able to do. Contributions will come from members. Funding strategies have been listed out there. Solicitation for financial and kind support for the foundation from Tiv sons and daughters across Nigeria and in the diaspora. Launching of the foundation, development of proposals for funding, investment of bonds in bonds and treasuries, and that's management of funding. Your Excellency, let me appreciate you, the commitment of the state government through officers of government that pledged when we presented Ayatse. at the end of my first year in office. That has been directed, approved, and the money has been released to the foundation. I want to appreciate you for that, and I want to tell you that already the foundation has bought a truck with that money, and it has been configured and is for reorientation and mobilization program of the foundation. Going now, we want to reorient our young people, our old people, refocus them on the purpose of rebuilding the Tiv nation. How can I support Ayatse to cast the foundation? How can I get involved? You can be a propagator of the message, of the creation and workings of the foundation. Tell your brothers and sisters about the foundation and what it's doing for the development of the Tiv nation. As a volunteer to work for the foundation and get to find out what the foundation is doing and play your own role, donating for the activities of the foundation and connecting the foundation with potential support for foundation by organizations worldwide. Financial support structure is explained there. The Tiv Area Traditional Council has set up a finance committee. They have done work chaired by Honorable Minister Ambrose Fese, and that has stated in terms of money that will be donated by different groups for the purpose of building the press for the development of the Tiv nation. Now, the most basic level of support to Ayatse to Casa Foundation all will be involved. And when we are discussing this, we say, well, if you're looking at, we say we are up to 10 million, in the Tiv nation. If you pick 250,000 to 500,000 Tiv sons and daughters, who will commit to support us with at least 50,000 every year? Well, the US-based Tiv sons and daughters may elect to give a minimum of $500 yearly. And those of you that know mathematics, if you have 50,000 naira from 250,000 people, how much will you get? Huh? 10 billion. It's not the kind of money that somebody will take and run away with. You know, we have the funds will come from mobilization funds. Mobilized will be allocated, you know, the different groups and so on. Now, they were talking about money. When we raise the money, how will the funds mobilized be utilized? In the following slides, I just mentioned it very briefly, the areas of what we can do. Improved agricultural productivity. Now, let me say this, that over the years, our very worthy sons and daughters have served in government. And what we have done over the years is consistently to withdraw from self-effort, to abandon everything to our elected sons and daughters in government. Everybody wants government to do everything. And this is what the Tiv Area Traditional Council is set out to change. We don't give our elected sons and daughters any rest. You have a sick somebody in a hospital, you call for the elected member or appointed member, and they can't rest. Some of them run away. And you can't blame them. Now we want to be able to take our future in our hands. Yes, they are there. They are our leaders, they are political leaders to support us. But we can't abandon our welfare completely to them. It's not possible. So we have brought out this so that as we get our resources, for example, we have our governor here, we say, look, Your Excellency, this is what the Tiv Nation has. We want to do this, we want to do this, we want your approval here, we want your intervention here, and in kind and in cash, at the end of it, he will also rest, because this achieved under him is part of his achievement. Am I right? And therefore, this is what we want to do. It's not a matter of folding our hands. Government, these days, people cannot even pack waste on the streets. They are waiting for government. They can't even clean their backyards. They are waiting for government. And therefore, the Tiv Area Traditional Council wants to reverse this, to be able to do something. And I believe we will have your support. Yes. Improve the agricultural production. Agricultural product beneficiation. There is so much we produce, so much yam, so much tomato, so much oranges, so much is being produced, and so much is wasted. We don't have industries working to add value to this. Look, government may try whatever. The best of governors you can think of, once he gets into that office, I'm telling you, he's here. Before you wake up, there are 1,001 people waiting. You can't even think. I believe that as the governor is here, you people are giving him rest too. We want to change that pattern. Let people elected carry out their function instead of going into things that we should be doing. Development of relevant rural infrastructure. In fact, the Tiv Area Traditional Council, from the different intermediate areas, we have identified some rural roads that if we can do something, it will change. It will change the transportation system, we change the accessibility, we change so many things. We have already identified, we have listed it. We are just waiting for funding, and we are looking for funds both from donation and also from grants, from development partners. We promote science, especially science, education, especially science and technology. Resuscitate speaking and writing of Tiv language. Yes. Up there, what has been written is in Tiv language. I don't know how many of you can read it. Well, we will encourage the emergence of more Tiv authors and scholars, including writing of books and development of curriculum on how to teach the sciences in Tiv language. In fact, importantly, when somebody say that the Tor Tiv you have now is digital. In the last university I established in Katsina State, by the third year, we had stopped using paper in meeting. Everything was paperless. In other words, we're using technology. Senate meetings were conducted paperlessly. And therefore, we believe in the place of technology. We will use technology, develop softwares, programs, and so on to be able to teach Tiv language. And I'm sure that some of my sons and daughters here in America, the new generation, when we do that, you'll be happy. You'll be able to sit down here and learn how to speak Tiv language. We promote entrepreneur and skills, entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial skills, especially for our young people. You see there at the far end, the Angre you people are wearing is part of our vision, that it won't be archaic like that. When we have funding, we'll translate this, we'll transform it into something more technologically driven, instead of that very old-fashioned way of producing them. We build all that, Give Tiv Nation an unfettered voice. We're thinking of Tiv Nation Radio. You know, the other people have already talking about radio, isn't it? Yes. We should have our own radio. Yes. We should have television. We should have newspapers. You know, I'm not sure we have any serious newspaper, print media in the middle belt. We will need to do that. Well, youth reorientation and development, part of the challenge we're having back home, and even here, is how to handle youth, their attitude, their values, what they are looking at, and so on. And we will need to reorientate them and give them a direction. Some of them will prefer to sit and do nothing and run after politicians, begging, rankadete, or vessel. And when you don't give, they turn around and insult you. But they can use the strength they have to be able to help themselves. We'll give them orientation, and that will be done. Women and gay child education, women empowerment, gay child education. There are so many things we have on program. Why Women Entrepreneurs? The program, women can do it even better than men. We will promote you know, the acquisition of skills for entrepreneurship by women. Promote the cultural values and heritage of the Tiv people. Look at the wonderful dress. Anywhere you wear this and stand, you stand out. Am I right? Yes. We want to promote this. And there are so many dances and so on, competitions and so on. We'll be promoting them. We want to hold clothing competition, dances, festivals such as agri shows and so on to promote agriculture. Sporting activities. Last year, the Tiv Area Traditional Council floated a cap and promoted football. And I think the winner was Kwande local government, runner-up Goma, and so on. And they got prizes and so on for football. And this year we are adding the women football also. We're supporting them. The idea is to make sure that we inject into the national team at least 5 Tiv sons and daughters. Now we have just one in the women team, national team. We want to have more. For the Tiv Nation, the scholarship has been on for a very long time now. The healthcare intervention has been on, very wonderful. We want to commend MUTA for that. And recently, MUTA sent us a contribution which amounted to 216,000, which went into Ayatse to Castle Press. These activities are continued. And I want to urge you to continue with the good work you are doing. When I was here in 2017, a young man walked up to me. He said, well, we're interested in making a contribution about what is going on at home, but how can we do it? $5,000 for an individual will not amount to much. But if there was a platform where all this money can, be pulled in, and then something will be done, now you have an answer to that. You have Ayatse to Casa Foundation. Whatever you put in, we go to address some of these challenges. Call for action. Now, since I ascended the throne of our ancestors, I don't encourage sitting and discussing about the problems and problems and problems. We've done that over and over. I want action. Ayatse to Casa Foundation is a platform for action. We know the problems. What we are looking for now is actions, solutions. And that comes from whatever we will contribute. We have management of the Ayatse to Casa Foundation. The executive director is John Akuse. His telephone number is there. They have the Simeon Nyaga is the accountant, the foundation. Gabriel Taka is administrative secretary. The foundation is a really serious body. It has its own structure, rented for now. But they have offices different from the palace and is there already working, making contribution. What I have come to present to you today is a platform that if you help us, we can help you address the challenges in Tiv Nation. All you need to do is make a commitment